about to go downtown.
Downtown Kay.
Downtown. You about to go downtown.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I'm your girl Kay, and this is a dope interview right now we're about to have with producer, none other. His name is Young Jin. I'm excited for us to get to learn him, the beats that he's been a part of, his creative process, and maybe things that he's looking forward to in his career. So how are y'all doing? It is literally the week before official, I guess, holiday season, or it already started because of Thanksgiving for you guys, which was November, but for myself as a Canadian, it would have been October. So we have our king in here. We're going to get him in and get started.
Hey. Hey. Hey.
How are you doing?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you. Do you hear me? That's good, that's good. How are you doing? Oh man, that beat takes me back. That's one of my first ever beat I made, and I haven't really looked back since then.
Lit. Young Chin in the fucking building. How are you doing? How are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Sorry. If you can't hear me okay, let me know because I am using new headphones. But I'm really excited to have you today because not often I get to speak with producers, music producers, and people repping for like the city that I'm in and a city that I love. So it's really dope to have you tonight, and thank you for all your support.
Oh, likewise. I mean, I love your page. You guys post like some funny stuff. I kind of have to post like put comments on here and there.
Yeah. I appreciate it. Like you have me rolling.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like it's just like you guys have definitely become one of my, like, along with like academics and pages, you guys have definitely like become my source for, you know, news and like hip hop, R&B, you know, what's going on in pop world. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys.
No, that means a lot because coming from Toronto as well, like we need to solidify our space, and I'm sure you're learning that and going through that, growing in your own lane. So how has that experience been for you? Like just being in Toronto and building beats and getting your beats out there, and you know, repping for where you're from. How is that for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty great. Not gonna lie, it's like, you know, nowadays I feel like the music industry, it's like 30 to 40% talent, and then the rest is really like how well can you network, right? It's honestly that right but it's just like just one of those things you learn along the way, right? It's at first it was really hard because I'm just, you know, I'm just an Asian kid, just, you know, making beats for fun, and I'm like, oh man, I want to take this to the next level. And you know, I look on my network, and at first it's a lot of people are just like people I'm just friends with, you know, people that I'm like, you know, my colleagues, or just people who just listen to music for fun. It's not necessarily like creators that were in my circle. So it was definitely hard reaching out, you know, just getting outside my comfort zone to, you know, just reach out to people. And of course, lots of rejections on the way.
Definitely.
But I mean, I understand, you know, it's like just starting out, you know, of course, if you're an artist or any type of creators, you want to definitely kind of work with somebody that's kind of have a foundation or some sort, you know, some sort of like a thing going, because, you know, it's from their perspective, right? It's like, oh, it's like, what am I getting myself into type of stuff, right? So I totally understand. But I mean, it was years of grind, and I feel like I finally have a group of people I am, you know, cool with. And yeah, it's a lot of creators in my circle. I'm very happy with where I'm at right now. Yeah, it's I primarily work with people that are in Vancouver, because that's where I used to be before I moved to Toronto. So I moved to Toronto like 2013, 14.
So, is there a lot of similarities between the two, or is it like a huge difference in terms of music?
It's hard to say because I mean geography wise, it's really different.
Yeah, yeah.
Back in BC, I'm just so used to seeing so many mountains, like uphills and downs, like every like nature.
Let them know. They think Canada all looks like Toronto, and I'm like, no, it doesn't.
No, it's really flat. Are you located in Toronto too?
Yeah,
Yeah, see, like it's just flat, it's just tall condos, buildings, and then
literally.
houses. Yeah, it's really that. But if you go to BC, like I kind of looking back, I wish I could have appreciated that a little more because I know I'm gonna sound really old, but as a kid, when
Uh,
I would just look at like the mountains and I just be like, man, this kind of feels good. I can't do that here. Just
for real, no. I went to Banff once in my life, and I can never remember the name of the spot, but it was like a mountaintop, and at the top it was like a hot tub, and then as you're in the hot tub, it's like you can see all the different mountaintops, and you're just it's like it's cold everywhere. There's snow around you. It's beautiful up there. So I definitely you gave up some really beautiful natural scenery to be here.
yeah, was it like what was it like a grouse mountain? Do you remember the name? Like, or was it
It
Whistler?
was it was tall. Like I remember we had to like go up high to access it. It was in Banff, so
Oh, it's Banff. Oh, okay, okay. That's in like the Alberta
yeah,
area.
yeah, in
Yeah, that's
Alberta.
probably where
That's the
everybody.
closest I've been to that side this far.
It's like the water's blue and stuff, like a turquoise type. Is it like?
It is a whole
Yeah,
vibe.
I
It's a
forgot the
whole
name. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because everybody in the West End will at least go there once and get their Instagram photos, and yeah, that's what they'll flex on there.
vibe. Legit, right? But I would love to know, like, what, because I know you kind of mentioned that you started doing music for fun, but what really got you started in it? Because I'm just going to be like straight up, you know what I mean? Like, the only Asian producers that I would say I give like my respect to that I could think of the top of my head is, of course, Neptune's. Like, um,
Crazy, crazy.
and I'm trying to think, like, I think that's about it for me.
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, Pharrell and Chad Hugo, yeah, they're a crazy duo. Like,
That is like,
yeah, yeah.
like,
It's like Pharrell. It's like honestly, that's like a one in a million or maybe even a billion talent. Like man can really, design some fire shoes and like designs of clothings. And then I love a singer himself. Like I've seen him rap too. I'm like, oh shoot, like, man, you got every. What can't you do? Maybe like clean the house or something. Like what can't you do? Literally, musically, he's like such a versatile person. Yes, that's definitely some. Actually, matter of fact, Billionaire Boys Club. That's definitely one of my like all-time favorite streetwear brands. Like over, I pick that over Bape, any other point. It's just so clean. Like I love it. So that's
so
yeah,
was that part of your inspiration? Like, how did you get started making beats?
yeah. So man, where do I even start? So I guess got into hip hop when I was like in middle school, and this was when I couldn't really speak English, but this was when like YouTube was really really starting to pop. So like like all the mixtapes and stuff like are all over YouTube, and
What were you listening to? What were you listening to?
it's actually kind of crazy. So I used to listen to so like I'm like literally everywhere. So I would listen to a K-pop, of course, because I'm a Korean, but then I will also like listen to like anime music because Naruto like was
Lit, lit.
and
Anime music
so
is
like
lit.
the music like all and then I started discovering like Lil Wayne. Like this was like it's like '06, '07. This is when he started having like the crazy like the internet,
Yep,
like, the mixtape era. And
yep.
at first I was like, man, this is like rap. This is like too much for me. And I keep listening. I was like, man, dope. Not. And then the crazy part is, and then I didn't know this till later. My mom is actually a big hip hop fan herself. Um,
Lit.
she did her school at in a school in Korea. There's a lot of foreigners and stuff. So she used to when I discovered rap, she used to just introduce me to a bunch of like hip hop songs. So Tupac was actually one of them. Not mixed up. Her favorite Changes by Tupac, Eminem,
Shut
the
the
so Usher Confessions. Like she introduced me to all these albums. I was like, how did I not know any of this? But but yeah, and then I started noticing like as I keep listening to them, it's like the productions come into my mind.
Mm.
Who was like the one of the first? Well, Scott Storch was definitely one of the person that stood.
Ooh,
Yeah, Scott Storch, you know, like
he is
going,
like
yeah, he,
Mount Rushmore level, legit.
I mean, I think he did Still Dre, he did like you know, a lot of 50 Cent G Unit songs.
Did
What else?
a lot of like the times when we would have been like at that formidable years,
Oh
Scott
yeah.
Storch was like running it.
Oh yeah,
Literally.
definitely. Lean Back is definitely one of the best beats ever made for sure. Like
Ooh,
I was like, these beats are like insane. And then I find myself at like point I'm listening to, yeah. It's just
like
like
what's that? Yeah.
it, it's just like one of those beats that make me like I'm a regular civilian. I'm a good kid, right? Well, I'm not, but I was a good kid.
That's what I
And
like to say when I'm like, I'm just a
it makes me
podcast.
want to like I wanna do something. Like I was like, oh, like I want to do something. Like what am I gonna do? But nothing. But you know, what I mean? It just really like pumps you up, and that's when I think started really getting to productions. Like listen to the productions, but it wasn't until when I was in university. I think it was 2014 Halloween season. This is when
Let's go back.
Future started going crazy with his mixtapes, and he dropped his mixtape called Monster. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but when that dropped, you have to understand. Till this point, I did not like Future, right? And I heard that, I was like, the productions from Metro Boomin, like Southside, like William, like all these guys. I'm just like, oh my god, this is so befitting because like the whole vibe was dark and like trappy, like bass heavy. It goes so well with the Halloween vibes, and that I was like, okay, I want to start making beats, and yeah, and I think I started in like 2016. Terrible beats since and yeah, that then goes back to my grinds of years, and then I think I'm where I'm at right now. Yeah, yeah. So
That
a
is
lot of
dope.
stuff.
And I have a huge appreciation for the fact that like you've clearly done your homework and took time to like look at the history. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
when you say people like DJ Premier and like
Oh,
those
yeah.
those goats that like people don't even, I feel like sometimes like people don't even realize the influence for most of the stuff we hear now is a sample of a sample of a sample of something like they
Absolutely.
done from way back when. So I really love this shit. So I kind of nerd out as you're like saying.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
a super nerd. I'm a super nerd. Like I will, if I see a new project, the first thing I'll do is, I mean, while I'm listening to it, I'll go to the credits and see who did this because this is crazy. And it's making music. It's such a weird thing where it's like, you know how when they say like when you're in like a technology field, you always have to update yourself like up to date, you know, with the newest technology.
yeah.
Honestly, that's the same thing about music too, because every day the sounds are changing. You know, nowadays we got people like, you know, Playboy Cardi, you know, Trippie Redd doing like video game sounding stuff. It's like you can't even classify this as like hip hop anymore. It's like I would call this like alternative trap, some other stuff, but
What I've kind of been feeling like is like hip hop is at that point where it should have some subgenres.
absolutely,
So
it's
diverse now.
hip hop at this point. Absolutely, it's you can't just keep calling it like urban music or alternative. It's not alternative. It's on the mainstream. It's on your radio. Like every,
Everywhere you go.
but
Yeah.
you know these monthly listeners don't really tell me it's alternative. You know, I don't know if you've seen like Tyler the Creator go on a award show and say he was really disappointed to see that they categorize his music as urban music because it's not. It's like that's like you're just, you know, it's that's hip hop is mainstream, and you know if you look at rock, there's so many different subgenres of rock, right? So why can't we do that for hip hop?
Hard rock.
Hip
Yeah.
hop sells more.
Well, I think as well, hip hop is really young, so I definitely, yeah. Thank you, really appreciate it,
Oh,
Shay.
I'm just a nerd. Like I'm just
No, but like, no, I was reading the comment, but I was saying like, I'm a huge nerd about music too. It's what I love, it's my passion, it's downtown world. Don't waste my time with negativity, you know. But it's it's at a point where it's just like you're saying, they're gonna have to diversify it soon. Hip hop is young. It's still like a young like it's probably a preteen now. So slowly, I feel like it will get to that point.
yeah, it's like what like first hip hop song started probably in like the 80s maybe. It was like the Africa Bambaataa. Like I mean he wasn't even was just like kind of like the vibe of it, right? It wasn't even hip hop then. And I feel like it set the gold stage, like golden era was like, yeah, the 90s what really set it off, right? It's like things were going crazy with, you know, New York's and like the West Coast. And here we are, the South has taken over. Yeah, you got still very young. It's still going many directions. Everybody's trying to get creative with this stuff. So absolutely. Yeah.
1000%. So I want to know, like, Yunjin, a standard question that we ask here at Downtown World, don't waste no time with negativity, is tell us a situation where it was definitely negative. No questions asked about it. But somehow, some way, you found a way not to waste any time with negativity.
Well, I guess for me, it's like, well, I don't want to be that dude, but of course, you know, being an Asian that I am and a super hip hop nerd I am, you know, at first, you know, a lot of people were like scratching their heads when I was like, hey, you know, I make beats, and they're like, oh, yeah, you make beats? There was a lot of like initial like, I wouldn't say rejections, but it's more like reluctance, right? And I mean, I wouldn't say it's negativity because I kind of expected that would happen because, you know, like look at me, like I look Asian as hell, like
There's no hiding it.
make like, you know, like hip hop stuff, and I understand that, that's fine. But at first I was like, oh, this is such an obstacle, but you know what, along the way though, I just kind of accepted it, and I kind of like that because I'm at a point where I can come up with pretty decent beats that, you know, make people head bob. You know, I think even the distributors are kind of feeling the music because I mean they're putting me on playlists, so that gotta mean, you know, my music ain't trash. So so that, you know, the fact that there is an initial shock factor, that kind of gets me like more pumped. You know what? It's like, yeah, I look like this, but I make this too. Like, you know, I can, yeah. And these days, like, I find myself doing a lot of like Asian hip hop type music as well because, you know,
ooh, let me know about that.
Right?
Is that what's happening? Like, do you feel like there's an Asian hip hop lane?
Yeah, it's actually crazy. It's been rapidly growing, you know, internationally, you know, thanks to TikTok and, you know, all these social medias, right? It's like people are discovering not just like K-pop, but Asian hip hop. And I mean, I'm saying like people from Philippines, like South Korea, Japan. Like,
That's fine.
it's fantastic. And that just shows that, you know, hip hop has become a genre. It's like, there's no boundary, right? It's, if the music hits, you know, then it hits.
1000%. And I think that's maybe what it is. It's
Yeah.
like, yes, it's like maybe you combated that, but I think also it's for the fact of like people want to know that you respect it. Like you were saying, by even speaking with you thus far, I can tell you've like done your homework. You have a real respect for the craft. You're not in it to be like, oh, I'm gonna make money and like appropriate off of this. You have like a real family
Absolutely.
tie connection to it, to the point where like you couldn't even fight it. You had to like figure out how they were coming up with these sounds and start making it on your own, like, you know?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, if it wasn't the, you know, thanks to the Black culture that came up with hip hop, none of this would have happened, right? And which is why I love seeing stuff like, you know, like I love the Wu-Tang Clan. Like I love how they're doing. You know, they're not. Actually, somebody asked me, like when I was in Clubhouse like months ago, somebody asked me like, oh, you know, when I said like, oh, I'm a you know, Asian producer, you know, I like making hip hop, R&B and stuff, and literally somebody asked me, was like, yo, like stop stealing from my culture. I was like, damn, like
I'm just doing that right away.
yeah. And then, you know, I mean, I didn't really I'm not here for lecturing, but if you look at, you know, I believe in like a good cultural exchange, right? I mean, the Wu-Tang Clan, perfect example. You know, if you go into the interviews, they're not stealing from Asian culture. They love the Shaolin, like the Chinese. They do their homeworks.
Yeah,
Watch their like, watch like Nardwar ever, like the videos, like interviews. Like these guys come with knowledge like about, I don't even know these Shaolin movies. Like the RZA just keeps going like, oh yeah, I know this.
Yeah, it gets
actor, like, yeah, there's a difference between just stealing and just admiring something so much that you pay homage in your music and your craft. Like big difference. And that's kind of what I aim to do, in terms of, you know, I guess the other way around, because I love hip hop as a genre, like my whole family does. And like I buy albums too. But I mean, I haven't bought albums in a minute. I think the last album I bought was Easy. I love the album so much. Yeah, but yeah, like I support
It's
as
a
much.
streaming time right now.
Hmm?
It's a streaming time right now.
Absolutely, yeah. So I try to just like do everything I can. I mean, it helps me, make the most out of my money too. But I just like it, right? I just try to do my best and, you know, kind of study their footprint because ultimately these artists want to be, remembered, and for influence. And that's what I kind of do. I hope to learn something from you guys. And hopefully if I do go somewhere with this stuff, I want to be remembered as somebody that's like, hey, he and so he kind of helped bridge between like, the hip hop culture and the Asian culture. It's kind of what I hope to do if I do make it that far. But yeah.
I do. No, I really do fuck with that, Young Jin, because that's what's needed for someone to come in the space, if that's the case, and really like represent and really make it a borderless space, but in the right way,
Yeah.
not in an appropriation way. So spot on with that. How did you come up with the name Young Jin? Like, because of course I'm going to say the only Jin I really knew about was 106 in Park. He was the first dude to
Oh my
win,
God,
and then put the eyebrows and my dumpling in your mouth. So how did you come up with Young Jin now as your producer name?
Believe it or not, that's actually my real name, like Young Jin. Like my last name is Kim, so it's Young Jin Kim. And yeah, my grandma, she's more hip than I thought. I was like, because when you start off as an artist or some type of creator, you want to come with like an alias, a nickname. Like you ponder onto it, like you spend hours thinking, man, what do I name myself as? I was just like there's nothing, like there's no need to think. I already have the name, like, and just keeping true. It fits, aligns with my goal of keeping true to myself. Like what you see right now is just me. Like I think people like me for who I am, and
I do. I fucks with you.
oh, thank you so much. I love your page. Please keep going. Please keep posting. But yeah, that just me
Keep
myself.
making beats.
Thank you.
I'm gonna need a new intro soon. Keep making better beats. Let's go.
Please.
Thank
I'm
you.
open for any, if you want like make some tags for me, I'm always open. Yeah, always open for, something creativity.
Well, actually, yeah, what are you open to? Are you, because earlier you mentioned kind of like being selective with the artists that you possibly branch with. So what is kind of like your criteria for who you prefer to like have on your beats? Are you pitching to like shows and like what are you?
Well, when I reach out to artists, I try to kind of understand, I don't just send random beats out to random people, right? I do my due diligence to listen to their craft. Like if I listen to, because there are usually two types of beats I make. It's either like the heavy hitting, like the southern, like the trap sounds, or like the more melodic, like
Mm-hmm.
it's like I mix both like the Asian sounds and the trap sounds these days. So try to kind of create like the Asian trap sounds, and so it really creates like a spectrum, right? It's like you got people that create rap, they'll fit onto more hard hitting ones. People that are kind of like like the Roddy Rich types, like the Young Thug types. Then I'll send them the ones in between. Or if you are just if I'm just working with like Asian sad boy, sad girl type music, then yeah, just melodic ones. But yeah, those are the three types I'm working, like trying to get some contact with right now. In terms of shows, no, I'm not really doing shows at the moment. I mean, I don't think shows have to be like, I don't have to do shows at this point. I just want to kind of build my fan
Catalog.
audience stuff right now. I think that comes first. At least I think the music is kind of hitting. I think people are kind of rocking with what I'm doing, and yeah, I just hope to continue that. I've been kind of going hard on like social media stuff, so because nowadays the ones who has the most social like the impact, the social media impact, are the really most popular. Like look at Doja Cats, Lil Nas, like these guys are popping on social media, right? Or Megan, yeah, these people. So yeah, just trying to do everything really.
No, that's amazing. Don't be nervous about it. Go and be
I,
fearless. Just keep killing it because, like, even what you're speaking on, as I'm so like, I'm obsessed with music. It's literally my whole
yeah, yeah,
job. You know what I mean? And like hearing you speak about this has me so intrigued, has me craving more. I want to be asking you a billion and one questions, but I'm like, I have to remember. Not everyone probably watching will be into what I'm into, but like even the fact that you said Asian hip hop sounds. What
yeah,
are some of those sounds? Like, would you say it's more like flute like? Like, what are the
yeah.
if you put a
Let's see. Since I want to kind of help you understand, I know Migos when they dropped like the first Culture, they had a lot of like the Asian kind of elements in there. And
mm,
off the top, I can think of Get Right With Ya. That was like a heavy flute type songs, and you can definitely take that beat to like a trap rappers in Asia, and they'll kill it too. Like that's like kind of like more like a trap scenes of Asian hip hop you can think of. Let's see. Asian hip hop, like they like to use a lot of funky stuff, like the guitars. You
like
have
electric guitar or like
acoustic more like not
mm,
like the Gunna, like not the Money Man type guitar. It's just like more like
yeah.
like the softer ones. Have you ever come across like lo-fi, like lo-fi?
Yeah.
Yeah, so think
That's
of
literally what I play when I'm like just
doing work.
trying to get work done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So think of that, but like I guess a little more like more upbeat with the drums and stuff. And
hmm
yeah, it's like, and imagine like some melodic, soft, like what can I think of, like
Like
a Mina is
whimsical.
a good example. Mina is a great example. He's a great I feel he's a great mix of like Asian sound and like a traditional hip hop sound. Yeah, the Mine, like I don't even listen to Mine, like Caroline. Yeah, that could do well in Asia for sure. Uh, Shoot.
So okay, I've never heard like Asian hip hop
Hmm.
before. Who do I start with?
Oh man, that's a good
I,
question.
yes,
Oh,
pressure. I need to dive into this rabbit hole. Who do I start with?
um, I guess
And
I can start out with the most popular ones, like Jay Park is one of them. He's kind of made a successful transition from like just being a traditional K-pop star to like a more like a global like a hip hop artist. So Jay Park, one of them.
yes,
Uh,
DM me right now a link to your music.
pardon?
Continue, Jen. Because someone in the comments said me, so I said, DM me right now. Like, we're not, especially waiting to 2022, we're not talking about what we do. We're doing actionable steps, right? So you put out music, you want to be heard, DM it to me right now.
Oh,
I'll play it right after the interview. Let's
definitely,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay Park, one of them. I okay. Right now I'm listening to a lot of this guy called G Soul. Yeah,
How
I
do
can
I?
like send it to you like after this, but yeah, G Soul is one of them. He's got a hell of a voice. You just pull up my Spotify. It's what I'm listening to right now.
Thank you for like just even answering this for me because I'm so intrigued. Like every time, like don't laugh at me, but like I fuck with animes heavy, and every time I watch them, I'm like I always start cracking jokes about the music because I'm like, yo, the lyrics are always so deep, like it's so heavy, like they're
Yeah.
spitting rare bars in it. So I'm like, I can only imagine what this music sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's just like I know sometimes, a lot of foreigners listen to K-pop. I just don't know if they actually understand that or they're just kind of going because it sounds good. I mean, it's fine.
Mhm.
It does sound good to me too, so I can't really blame you for listening to it.
Beats are
Like,
upbeat, but the lyrics, man, they be deep. Like I'm like, Dad, I had no idea like Asians are so like dark.
yeah, yeah, anime tracks slap. Yeah, anime tracks do slap. Yeah, so right now on my playlist, I'm listening to a lot of these guys called Manila Gray. So it's a duo. It's interesting. These guys are two Filipinos, but they're actually like from Vancouver. Um, they're really dope. They got really like I listen to them a lot when I'm driving like late at night. They got that sound like yeah, like a kind of like a synthy wave, but
Sick.
kind of like yeah, there's Asian sounds mixed to it. Oh, have you heard of like 88 Rising before?
No, I haven't.
It's an Asian collective like yeah, it's a group of a lot of people. They got a lot of dope
Oh yes, I have. Yes, I have. Yes, I
yes,
have.
yes. So that's a good way to start too if you're like trying to listen to Asian hip hop. And
Okay, cool.
yeah.
So what do you see? What are like future steps for you right now? Like you said, you're heavily active on social media, but that can't be the only way that you're trying to like get your music out there. So what are kind of like in the future steps are you really working towards now with where you're at?
Of course, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing at this point, but yeah, how I will probably do different in the coming year is so what I've been doing this past year, I've been working with a lot of people that are in-house in my like crew. So my crew is called the Lunar Cycle. They're based in Vancouver, and usually how we work is you just like I send them beats. It's an internal thing. It's pretty easy, right? It's and yeah, we come up with something nice and then we put it out. That's just been the process. But yeah, for this year, I have a goal of like I've never really worked with female artists before, and I really want to do that because like I know there's bare talented like female artists out there that I really want to work with. Doesn't matter what race, doesn't matter. I just want to do something dope with them, and yeah, that's kind of my goal. So yeah, but in order to do that, I want to kind of personally reach out, and work something out. That's kind of my plan. Yeah.
Well, anyone you see me if I've interviewed or anything like that, Young Jin, feel more than free to reach out. We like, you know, I'm Kay, you're Young Jin. Feel free to reach out. You're not a stranger. You're part of the family. And like, I really want to see you win because, like, seeing a world right now with Asian hip hop and all the other hip hops, and it just being a borderless space of like fucking dope music,
Yeah.
just like makes me excited as a person that has to talk about, create, and listen to this content, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's always like I feel like there are always borders being created. I mean, that's just how society works these days. But I just want to be that person where I can just, at one point I can just work with Korean artists, and then other point I can work with like super big American artists. And I think that would be so dope to see, not just for myself, but just like future, because globalization is a real thing now. Everybody, it's like, um, you know, bunch of Asians living in North America, bunch of
Yeah.
Americans living in Asia. Like it goes both ways these days, right? There's no like this and that. Like there's no A and B. Like it's like A B A B A type stuff. So it's like I want to show people that there's really no there's nothing that's impossible in this like in music world. I know because I know when people find you do something dope, they'll help you push. Like they'll rock with you till like you're not dope anymore. But so you keep right.
We won't say that. It's gonna be so positive too.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I just want to create like a fun space where we don't have to look at each other like be like and just make that judgment. Just judge off the music and the content making, right? That's just what I want to see. Nothing too rocket science here, hopefully.
So like I earlier you spoke about your collective and like teamwork, how important is that really to like your process and what you have going on? Because I myself sometimes I'm really grateful for the other media sisters I have or like women in the industry that maybe if they see me not posting as much or something, they'll motivate me to be like, girl, you gotta keep going, like et cetera, where maybe regular like family and friends probably wouldn't understand, right? So like how is that for you with your team and your collective? Like how important is that drive and stuff for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I am a big people person. Even just in general, like in my life, my peers are my motivation factor. So if I see them do bad, it affects me. Like not just like work wise, just it just does, right? And of course, being the person that I am, it is like I got to make sure my brothers and sisters are in good hands. And also being in this music collective space, like there's no leaving each other behind. I remember I watched like a Rick Ross interview. He said something interesting like about being like wealthy. I think the interviewer asked him like, "Oh, how are you so rich and blah blah blah." He said the key is to make sure that you're not the only one rich, but the people around you. Because if you're the only one rich, like the wealth isn't being shared amongst your like people, are you really? Is your fam really up there? So I think kind of hit me because it's it sounds, I mean, he's talking money, but it's not just money that you can apply this logic to. It's about like the spirits and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a big thing. Like Crazy Rick Ross kind of inspired me that, but
He's one of my favorite artists. He's my top 5.
oh yeah,
So you
another
are
big,
not richer than I ever been. You are not talking to someone that will disagree with something Ross had to explain, for real.
yeah. So I mean, that's kind of like the code I live by. Making sure my teammates, my partners, my friends are good. Um, that's and that will kind of determine the quality of my work. It makes me go hard. Put out, be able to use the creative side of my brain and everything. And yeah, that's how I made some of the music that I was really content with. And luckily, and Spotify and Apple Music really recognized I put that on their playlist. And yeah, I'm really grateful. Like, and that's just a confirmation that like I'm on the right track with my thinking. So yeah.
So I also want to, sorry, I kind of was so excited to dive right in, but congratulations on, doing so well on Spotify and having your music really get out there and like, being a part of playlists and stuff. I see that a lot of artists around this time post that, and
Yeah.
I always like to say, for people that are disappointed, like, what did you do? Like, for example, the ones for this year are out. So what are you doing from now to this point again next year that's going to ensure that that card specifically looks a certain type of way? What advice could you give, or what have you learned in your process? Because you've gotten a lot of play. You've
Yeah.
gotten a lot of play.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I did post my numbers just because, it's just interesting. But to any future artists, the aspiring artists or even struggling artists out there that, aren't getting the results they want, I do want them to remember that this is just a number. Like, this doesn't determine your worth at all. It's actually garbage, if I'm being completely honest with you. It doesn't mean shit because next year you could be in a totally different spot, right? And but I do want to tell them that, if the numbers are really concerning you, don't use that as like, oh my God, he's in a better spot, or he or she's in a better spot than me. Why am I not here? Don't think that way. Just think that as like, okay, well, shit, I'm gonna do that someday. Well, it's a motivational factor, not a disappointing factor. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I kind of looked at other artists too. Like, I see people doing like 1 million, like 1 billion. That doesn't faze me. Like, cause maybe they've had more fortunate, events than me, or maybe they had better pushes than me, or maybe they're just really good. They're just better than me. But I always took other people's numbers that were like astronomical as like kind of like a goal. Okay, well, shit, like I'm gonna work harder for next year. I mean, I know what I want to do in terms of my goals. So if in order for me to get there, I got to make sure my objectives are met. That should be the mindset, right? But but just to break it down simply though, that number doesn't mean shit because it's just for the moment, right? Because yeah, you have a lot of Spotify numbers. Did that get you any, plaques? Did that get you any like crazy brand deals, like business deals? If it didn't, then what does it all matter for? Do you have a fan base that's always gonna be loyal to you? If you show up to a venue, they're gonna look at you, they're gonna come find you. That's better than Spotify rap numbers. Having real
100%.
doesn't mean
I
shit.
rather have the people on my side than like some fugazi numbers to like, really get out there and post.
Yeah.
So no, I agree with that 1000%.
Yeah.
So what would you say are like some artists that like are on your dream list of working with?
Ooh, that's a good question. Man, The Weeknd is a dream. Just because he's a legend in Toronto. But the crazy thing is, I actually met The Weeknd once. It was good, and I gave him. Oh man, I'm still salty about it. But I actually gave him a recipe with my beats in it. But the problem was, you're probably wondering how is this an L in any way possible? But the beats, I wasn't ready back then. I just wasn't ready back. And just looking back, honestly, if I gave him USB right now, things could be a little different. I don't know, because I've gotten a lot better since then. And Man, who knows? Your boy could have been an EXO or I don't know, but yeah, back then I just wasn't ready. But it was definitely an interesting experience. But he's still on my like 1-2 list. Travis Scott's supposed to be on my list, but I don't know. That's looking a little shaky right now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So talented. Maybe you can hit up Sci-Hi the Prince. He has a lot of.
Yeah, Sci-Hi. Oh my God. Yeah, yeah, true. Actually, you know what? If I somehow ever end up on Sci-Hi's album, I'll be pretty fucking happy because pretty sure he wrote like half the good music labels music anyway. So it's really his pen.
It really is. Sci-Hi is pushing that
He's
pen.
a really dope guy too. Like I know he's really rich from all that writing credits.
I like the way you said it. I know he's really rich. I feel you.
Yeah, but that's like that's like also like a dream of mine too, being able to like, because you can probably Sahai can probably go out to a restaurant and not many people recognize him, but we all know he's really rich, right? He's loaded because all the hits we don't even know about half the songs.
Real life. Yeah.
Right? So it's like,
And he's not out there like I did this, I did that.
yeah, like you don't
That's clear.
flex, right? You can tell people if you want to, let's say, impress a girl at a club, that like I wrote this song actually. That's like a diamond plaque. Oh, so you're like, oh, that's amazing. But at the same time, you can go out to restaurants, they don't know you. You can have your meal in peace. Like isn't that amazing? I think that's like even better than being famous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need. Well, that's the question, right? When you ask, I'll ask you: would you rather be rich or famous?
Yeah, rich.
Right.
Gotta make sure my family's all good. Yeah, rich.
Right?
Yeah, rich.
Straight up.
Better.
I don't like. I think that's just a bonus, but like for me, it's the love. It's knowing that my mom doesn't have to think about things. My father doesn't have to think about things. My family is good. Like, everyone's healthy. No one's in the hospital. Like, those are the things
Yeah.
to me that are like real love.
Yeah. And I mean, look, we in Toronto. You already know how the house prices are. Like, you're literally putting money. If you're putting fame before money, you got shit fucked up. You need to spend stories out. You got condos costing $1 million right now.
$1 million.
Are you kidding me? A condo's $1 million. Yeah, it's like I'm just trying to make a living out here. Like,
Facts.
Yeah.
But do you feel like, you've also had the experience of like being in the studio working with artists? What are some of like those do's and don'ts that you would be like, this is something other producers should probably not do or do when working in the studio with other artists?
Well, I've actually been studio to like very like little amount of times. I'm more like a home studio person, but when I did go, I kind of was like more like a spectator position. But man, these rappers get hyped. They dance around and stuff. We get it. Music is we feel that way too. But let's get this music done. Don't jump around too much. It's distracting, and don't put your okay. And I'm not really big like people smoke in the studio, drink in the studio. It doesn't really work that way for me. Maybe I'm not cultured enough yet, but it's a distraction. Like if
I'm gonna let you know from now, young Jin. You gonna be around the hip hop scene. You gonna have to adapt to a little bit of weed smoke.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool.
That.
It's cool. You can do whatever you want, but like there are like some heavy smokers, heavy drinkers.
Yeah.
Oh God, like, are you here to party? Are you here to work? I'm trying to get some money out here.
that's like just for a bit more understanding. That's the culture. That's the pain. That's something which is embedded in the hip hop culture.
Yeah.
That's something a lot of us, or a lot of people use to mask their pain, and somehow it helps them. Everybody has their things of choice, but that's something that's definitely, I would say, embedded in the hip hop culture. So
yeah,
it feels like a party to you, but to us, that's a regular day.
No, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I enjoy drinking and stuff too. Like, moderately is okay. But man, they just pull like a Henny bottle and just go crazy. I'm just like, I mean, it's cool. Like, I want you to enjoy it because, sometimes I understand some people, get in some type of need to get into a mood. And that's how they get creative. That's cool. But I've seen some cases where they're like, just like going too crazy. They're falling asleep. I'm just like, oh my God, you paying for studio sessions, man. Like, why you sleep, man?
No, I feel you.
There's no discount. You're paying full price. Yeah, I mean, think, I mean, of course, if you've done in moderation and you're doing that to help boost your creativity, I'm all for it. Like, because I want you to make the best music you can, but don't do it to the point you're like passing out. No,
For real. I really feel like you should do interviews, Young Jin.
think so?
I've never said that to anyone, but I really feel like that would be a great tool for you as well. Like being a beat maker and you're really easy to talk to, love your personality, and like that's a great way for you to get comfortable with the field. You choose guests or guests will gravitate towards you because and then that is a great way for you to as well build a community or make it more large.
I
I
never
really
heard
feel
that
like
before.
it should.
So you mean like me asking questions, like me being in your
Yeah,
spot?
yeah,
Interesting. Huh.
yeah.
I never thought of that. You think I have like the aptitudes to do that kind of stuff?
Um, just being on my nerd vibe. Some of my most favorite conversations are with the engineers and producers. Even one of my favorite podcasts is a producer podcast show, and it's just like the way you guys think, the way you're able to like analyze situations. I don't know, beats just like unlock like a different part of the brain and make the conversation really well, and that's part of it, right? Like you're part of the centerpiece of what's being put out there. So it's like you want to build those relationships since you're starting from so like real ground zero to be like, this is what I'm like. It helps your creativity as well because it's forcing you now to kind of, interact with others and have a way to like broaden your thinking. And I've never said that to anyone ever. I swear to God.
Well, I appreciate that. It shows that this is good right now.
Oh, for real.
No, that's
For
good.
real.
That's great. I mean, just for your information too, I'm pretty comfortable. Like, I don't do much interviews. I mean, I've never really done them like that.
I've
But yeah, I
seen
mean,
that. I appreciate you.
absolutely. I mean, it's like I think it's your skills, like you being able to kind of find a place that's like a middle ground where it's like where we can kind of have a conversation without one going like, oh, I don't know the subject at all, or even at the time you don't know too much about subjects, you're prompting me questions to kind of encourage me to kind of be more engaging. So I think that's a great skill to have, and I think you really have got that nailed down. So I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So, um, was there anything that if there's anything that you could change about the music industry, given the power, what is something that you would change?
Oh, that's a great question. What I would change about the man, these labels. I hate labels. Like I wish people that are independent could have more power, more like power in terms of the marketing, being more noticed. Just even in like the Spotify and Apple. I don't know if you know, but these big labels like Universal, Warner, they actually own a piece of all these companies.
Oh,
Like
1000%.
they own. If you look up like Spotify, it's like they're all shareholders, which
Oh
means
yeah.
that they kind of have control over what they want to push, right? Because obviously, in Spotify's point of view, like, oh, you guys are like part owners, so of course I have to listen to you because you guys give all this money to us. They make a lot of money, but
They
now you
do.
people that are, having some sort of equity on your side, which means, of course, people like Cardi B, Megan, Sweetie, they'll obviously have more marketing power
More
over
action.
like
Yeah.
who's a really good independent artist. Russ is a great example. He's somebody that's just completely
Yes
independent.
and no. I
Just
must be fair. Yes and no. He is a great example for independent mainstream, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
But he still had somewhat of a foot in the door in the sense of like his father kind of
Oh yeah,
already
true.
owned something. But no, you're right in what you're saying, but I just always like to let that point be known for people because they get carried away sometimes and not like do all the information on someone
Right.
as much as they can. And it's just like Russ, it's easy like it's easier for Russ to say what he's saying and doing the plays that he's making based on like what he had going around him. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
True.
he does great information in the sense of like for me every time I listen to him he does spark another part of my thinking to be like this is something I should look into, this is something I should do. He's one of my favorite people to see do an interview.
Absolutely. It's like everything's out of his pocket. It's actually insane. I think was it like his newest interview with, I think it was like at the Breakfast Club. He talks about taking
great interview
a line of credit and investing that
with
into.
the bank.
Yeah, it's like the 3D, you know, the New York got that 3D, like the panels and stuff, you know, paying for features, and then he has to pay back. That's crazy flex. Honestly, that's like, you are amazing in terms of financing your own.
It is, but what he's not saying, right? Like, let's talk about it, because Russ, it's easy for him to, like, he's right. You can go to the bank and do that, but like, you have to bring proof of like shows, sales, um, showing how much, and being able, like, when you go to the bank, if you've ever tried to get a loan or something, you have to show that you're able to like pay back and then some,
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
then approve. You
That's
know,
the
so
hard
I know I'm just hearing people hearing Russ say, "Oh, yo, you can go to the bank and da da da," and they go to the bank with like a 300 something credit score and haven't ever done a show or anything, and be like, "Oh, but Russ is independent. Like, why can't I get a loan?" Yeah.
Gotta have a good credit score at the end of the day. I mean, I don't know what, hey, flexing all that money on Instagram is great, but you should really get a credit card.
1000%.
Why can't people flex with like black cards? I've never seen that before.
That's the type of flex I'm on. I don't know about
Hey,
them.
the American
I don't know about them, but that's the
the
type of flex
goals.
I'm on.
If I ever, I promise you right now, if I ever make it like that, I'm flexing credit cards. I'm not even joking. I obviously have to hide all the numbers, but
Oh, yeah.
I'm flexing like, I got the Amex Gold, Plat, like
When I
green.
get a black card, I don't even know if y'all will see me anymore. Like, it's gonna be someone else here. Like, I'll just be somewhere.
Yeah, if I have a black card, that means I probably wouldn't want to show my face because that means I'm too wealthy anyways. But yeah, but that's the real flex. Like,
Facts.
nobody that rich will actually flex that money. But yeah, I mean, but yeah, I'm just going back to the topic, right? It's just like, I just want to see if I could change one thing. It's just the flexibility of being independent. We, like me and my Lunar Cycle boys, like, we are independent. We will choose to be. We're kind of following I mean, we only sign if it's like a monstrous deal, like 21 Savage, right? That's a popular story. He had a platinum album when he was independent. That's actually, so you know how hard it is to do a platinum when you're independent. You gotta have a big amount of fans that's really loyal to you. You gotta have, obviously, you gotta have a lot of connections too, but you can't do that as well if you're independent, right? You got industry, that's called industry connections. If you got a lot of industry people, then yeah, they'll introduce to other industry people. Now you have a lot of connections, but to do that when you're independent, that's crazy. And he had built an amazing, like, I think he struck a few $1 million deal with, I think back then was Epic. Was it Steve Stout? No, it's not Steve Stout. It was somebody else. Russell Simmons? No, somebody else. I don't know who was it.
There's
Epic.
someone around there, around those parts. I said it was one of those guys, the big
Yeah.
heavy hitter.
And then, like, that's the right way to do it if you really, because you now have leverage. It's like, hey, I have a multi-platinum single and a platinum album, and
Exactly.
you're gonna give
Have
me
something to
me.
go with. You
No,
have a hand to hold. Like,
yeah,
instead of just going there and be like, well, I have nothing, but I have this amazing talent. Like, they're gonna use you.
yeah. It's like what labels can do to you these days. It's literally modern day slavery. Like, I just read this news. The 300 Entertainment, right? That's Megan Thee Stallion, Young Thug, and many other people that are signed to right now. They just got 300 just got sold by Warner Music, bro. The cycle continues.
Well, yeah, because a couple weeks ago, it was a possibility that QC was offering Quality Control, which is the Migos, Lil
Yeah.
Baby. They were offering to buy them over. So maybe now that that's done, we'll see that move. But with the times, these dinosaur labels and stuff, like, everything kind of has to go in 300. They have a lot of amazing people, platinum selling like Fetty Wap, like so many amazing artists on their roster. But sometimes who's at the helm, or all the business and politics that go behind that,
Yeah.
it's like it does more better for your business to sell it and let someone else take it over and run it, as opposed to you being at the helm. And
Now,
that's a tough
now,
decision
now
to
you're
make.
stuck. Now you're stuck with a label that's gonna be really heavy on controlling you. I don't know, cause with Megan's case, she since she has like a manager deal going on with Rock Nation, now she
Well,
has
that's her management
right. But
company.
I wonder if that would impact her like her label situation. But you know, she got Rock Nation stuff. Then she signed to 300. Then that's signed to Warner Music, and there's like tiers after tiers. Oh my gosh, see, this is too complicated and too
It
like
gets
there's
it
too
gets
much
messy.
money to be made to be giving away money like that. You know, so. So I'm going back to the topic. Like, I wish there's more power to being independent. But on a positive note, we are at a greater space in being independent thanks to TikTok, Instagram, you know, YouTube, you know, everybody
We
media now. So it's good stuff. Like a lot of people on
all
TikTok,
that stuff.
they end up on the charts. It's insane. We're in a different era. So I think we are moving into the right direction in terms of more power to the independent.
No, I definitely rock with that. And as I was saying, like with NFTs and everything, happy with that. Like
Same. Yeah.
I don't I don't even know why people are, wasting their time doing certain stuff anymore. Like they're really not. They're falling behind at this point if they're not like using all these free resources while they're still free.
Yep, we're living in an interesting time. A lot of changes. Yeah, NFT. Yeah. That's funny you bring it up because people that draw arts, that's a golden opportunity for them, right? You could create a dope art, sell it the right way. You just got paid, and cryptocurrency, that's gonna be even worth more if you just let it sit. You know what I mean? Crazy times we're living in. Crazy times.
It's exciting. So Youngjin, I've had such an amazing time like speaking with you today.
Likewise.
Getting to learn you even more. Like you're even more dope than like the comments you leave that
Appreciate
have me like rolling. Um, I want you to let
it.
everyone know.
Yeah, likewise. I just want to say the same thing. I mean, thank you for making this like a fun conversation. I know it's called dubbed interview, but I feel like I just went on live to just have a nice chat with you, and it's always better that way. And I do have to work on my social skills very well. So if I
Oh,
do,
you're doing amazing. You're doing amazing. And I'm happy that you're comfortable.
appreciate you. Thank you so
You
much.
made me comfortable, right? I'm fearful too. Like I'm over here like I don't know what's about to happen, right? You just hope it goes well. So thank you for making this a great experience. But I want you to let everyone know where they can follow you, where they can support you, where they can find your beats, hear them out, purchase, get in contact with you, all of that good stuff.
Yeah. My Instagram is Josh Youngjin Kim. That's my full name. I don't know if you can see that in the live, but probably, yeah, you can follow me there. I'm always on Instagram, so if you want to reach out to me, my DM's always open. You can find me on TikTok too. It's YJ Turn It Up. What else?
I'm gonna add you when we're done.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I'm gonna add you to my TikTok when you're done.
Sure. Yeah, I'll follow you back. Yeah, my email is on my Instagram too. So it's youngjinmusic@gmail.com. And yeah, it's pretty much where you can reach me. Yeah.
No,
And
I love
follow
that.
Downtown World and follow Kay. They're amazing people. I think they're on the way to become like the Shade Room or could be even better.
I
And
read it.
one of my main sources of hip hop news and stuff. So make sure you guys follow that. Oh, you guys!
I read it.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
I
So
read
that's
it.
so dope.
Thank you. The story for that drop is so wild, but I'll save it for another time.
Okay. No, I'll be in
don't
tune.
be a
I'll be
stranger.
the audience to listen to that. But yeah.
Don't be a stranger. Like, hit me up. As I said, artists you see me with, you want to work with, like, whatever I can do, that's what I'm trying. Whatever I can do, I am not Russell Simmons. I am not Hot 97, but whatever I can do, I want to help you guys out there. I really would love to see Asian hip hop
Yeah.
and you dominating that space. I feel like, yo, you guys don't know about Young Jin.
Hey, just know that I always remember people I came up with. So if I do end up in that space, I'll definitely endorse you guys. And I'm not saying that just to, be like, oh my gosh, he's trying to be a martyr or whatever. No,
Don't keep it around here. It's real shit.
I'm a petty guy, so I remember all my day ones. So. And I remember who did too. Yeah.
That part. All right, guys. So this has been an amazing conversation with producer Young Jin. Today, he did not waste any time with negativity. Today, we ate fruit and minded our business. And you guys support this king, follow him, and make sure you're streaming and supporting him all the way.
Thank you so much. Have a good night.
You as well.
About to go downtown.
Downtown Kay.
Downtown. You about to go